What's up, guys? It's been a while. There really wasn't much to talk about in terms of NASCAR games. And unfortunately, we have some breaking news, and it's not good. Now, before people panic, um, it's not as bad as it seems at first, but right now there just isn't that much information. So I'm going to read to you a post by Zane, who is on the esports side of things at 704. Apparently, 704 Games is shutting down. So when I first, somebody posted that in my last video in the comment section. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, but thank you for posting that. I usually find out a lot of information from you guys. I'm not on social media like Twitter, Facebook, or anything like that. So I'm gonna talk about what we know so far. Okay, this is from Zane. Today has been a difficult day. The company I moved from Texas to Charlotte earlier this year has officially shut down, and the Charlotte team was laid off this morning. The game is still being developed by Sean Wilson and his talented team. So apparently, the esports is what's shutting down that side of the business. Supposedly, the game is still being developed. So then he goes on to say, I never thought or honestly saw this coming, and I am absolutely blindsided by the timing. Even with being laid off and unsure what's next in my adventure called life, please bear with me. I'm squinting a little bit because I don't have my reading glasses. All I can really say is I was able to take a passion of mine since I was a little kid and turn it into a career. I did things and met people I had only dreamed about doing or meeting. I love this community and industry more than most will ever know. And I am humbled every day by the opportunities it gave me and still might hold for me. I honestly believed we were building towards the best NASCAR games and competitive esports series in many years, and I still feel it was all because of the community and their feedback. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you to 704 Games team that gave me a shot at following my dreams. I am looking at you, Papa Matt. Thank you to the RTA and the race teams for putting your trust in me during season 1 of the Pro League. Thank you to the team at NASCAR for believing that I wasn't just a NASCAR gaming nerd from Texas, but a nerd with a gift for being an on-air talent. Finally, and most importantly, the community. Thank you to the community. Thank you for trusting in me to give you feedback, be it direct, insightful, challenging, or simply just awesome. For your input, thoughts, and feelings about the gameplay features and all the paint schemes wishes for the game and sport. I love to my very core. Until next time, I'll see you guys and gals on the virtual track. Zane the Bearded One. Okay, so basically, it's the Esports Pro League thing that's going away. Uh, Before I go any further, I want to say, I really feel bad for not just Zane, but everyone else that's being laid off or losing a job. That really sucks. And like he said, he moved from Texas to Charlotte. It's that makes it even worse when you move away from home and you really think you're gonna build something and it doesn't work out. So that I feel terrible for these guys. But from what he said, and I also read a couple of other comments in Twitter. Uh, it's Sean Wilson and the team, which I really don't know what that consists of at this point. They're still developing the actual game. So right now, I think it's too early to really know how this is going to actually affect the development of the game. Even though they don't really have anything to do with each other. It's still part of the company. And those of you who watch my videos, you know that from the very beginning, I was never a fan of this pro league stuff or this esports. I don't think that was something people cared about or wanted. Um, people want a good video game. And I always thought that it was a bad business move, that wasn't a good direction for them to go in. They should just really just go all in and focus on the game itself. All this online stuff, now I'm not talking about just the regular online multiplayer. Obviously, you have to have online multiplayer in any game, especially a racing game. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this esports thing. I think they were trying to cash in on this, this online gaming as a profession type thing that's popular. Uh, the type of thing you see people win money in tournaments and stuff like that. And I think that they thought that's something that's going to really catch on and that they could just jump on the bandwagon. I never understood the business side of it. How is it that 704 was to make business, uh, make money, as a business with this pro league thing? I never really understood it, but I can't speak to the business side of it. I'm not an expert. I don't know. But obviously, whatever it was didn't work. And I just wasn't a fan of this thing because to me, it was a distraction from the core of the game. And also, for a company that's not that big, you don't want to spread yourself thin. You want to try to focus on, the less things you focus on, that you have to really focus on, the better. When you have to spread yourself thin like that, it's just not a good thing to do. So even though I don't care about the esports thing and I was never a fan and I didn't like that direction, I still feel terrible for all these people involved. That's it's not a good thing. And also, I still see it as an overall as a negative because we still don't know how this affects the game development side of things, right? So even though he said that Sean Wilson and the team is still working on developing the game, we really don't know what that means. They don't reveal a lot of information, right? And their communication has always been bad. I've always, criticized them for that. And it's tough getting information, right? So the only reason I even found out about this is because somebody was kind enough to just put it up in the comment section and say, hey, 704 is going out of business, they're out. So I saw that and I went and I Googled, 704 games shutting down, whatever. And up popped the Twitter feed. So that's where I read Zane's Twitter post. So I don't really know what's going on, except for that this esports thing is going away. I'm not surprised that it didn't work. I said from the beginning, and this isn't about, hey, I told you so. It's just to say that I always felt it was a bad idea. It didn't make sense to me, especially for a small company. I never liked it. I just, whatever. So, you know, it might sound like I think this is great news. It's not. I don't think it's good news. I just think that overall, it's never good when they have to slash a chunk of the company and lay people off. That's always bad. So how is this going to affect the game development? I have no idea. Now I was going to do I coincidentally I was going to do a video tomorrow or Friday, just after more than 2 months of the game of playing the game. I wanted to give you guys some quick thoughts on what I thought of the game after having it for over 2 months, and then this pops up. So I wasn't expecting to do a video, and especially a video like this. So that being said, um, NASCAR Heat 4, I'm pleased with the on-track product. As far as the racing goes, the gameplay mechanics, everything, obviously it's not perfect. There are little tweaks that need to be made, naturally. But overall, the racing is the best, I think, of any console game ever. NASCAR. Um, you jump in and it delivers for the most part. There are some races that are a little too on the easy side, it's a little inconsistent there. But then there are some races that are very brutally tough. So it's a bit inconsistent there. But overall, for the most part, you're going to have a good, solid experience on the track. Unfortunately, that's all that this game really is. It is just about the racing. There's nothing else going on. And, you know, being the fourth game, I'm going to ignore the first game, right? That was a bare bones demo. But for the past three games, Sean Wilson and these guys, they were really emphasizing how much they were working on the career mode. But that's something that really hits home after spending over 2 months with this game. As good as the racing is, right? The AI, the whole experience, as great as that is, right? The rest of the game is just bare bones. I've already said a million times before, there's no presentation, there's no narrative, there's nothing going on. In fact, whatever happens off track between races, I would compare it to a mobile game. It's just point click and go to the next race. It's uh, it's just empty, right? So those are the areas I'm really hoping they're working on this year. And with this news now, I don't know, man. It's like my expectations they're going down because the uncertainty. We don't know. I don't even know what this team consists of, other than Sean Wilson and a bunch of guys. Um, I'm pretty sure they already started work on the next game. It's been 2 months since they released the last game, so obviously they're probably well on their way, you know, into the development of the next game. All I can hope for is that they are focused on finally addressing the off-track stuff, something that ties everything together. That like every other sports game that's out there, they all do it. They all have presentation, a narrative, uh, that narrative of you as the athlete in a given sport and having to deal with all the things that entails. It's not just on the court, on the field, on the track. So I hope they get it this year, and I hope that that's where their focus is on. And of course, tweaking and making small adjustments to the on-track racing, right? Because there are little tweaks that need to be made, a lot of little things that need to be fixed. But overall, I'm really pleased with the game. It's a great game to jump on and do a race or two. But that's what I usually do. I'll run one or two races and then I'm off, and then I go play something else. And that's because there's nothing there that keeps me there for long periods of time. No narrative, no presentation, no cutscenes, no, like I said, everything that happens off track is on the level of a mobile game. So they gotta improve that. So that's all I really have to say about that. So this, if there's any news that you guys uh, run into or find, anything that the community you think could might want to know, especially me. Like I said, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Twitter, so I'm not the best guy to that. I'm not that guy that's just gonna go out there and find every little bit of information and be able to give it to you guys. I'm not a journalist, so I'm just part of the community, and I'm more of an opinion guy. I just give you my opinion on stuff that a lot of you guys may already know. But for those of you who don't know, that's what the news is at this moment. Supposedly, this only affects the Pro League esports thing. So even though, like I said, I knew I never was on board with this stuff. I didn't like it. I didn't like the idea. It never sounded good to me. This whole merger, all these people that came in from this motorsports.com thing, I don't even know who's involved with this, or it's just weird because for such a small company, there was a lot going on, and I don't know. I'm hoping that this is a blessing in disguise, and maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this forces the guys that are there, Sean Wilson and the team and stuff like that, to say, okay, forget this esports stuff, forget this pro league stuff, forget all this, whatever it is they were trying to do. Let's just get back to basics. Work on the game. The better the product you make as a game, the more copies it's going to sell. That's how it's supposed to work. This esports thing, I don't know. Were they trying to sort of be an alternative to iRacing or other forms of uh, online racing uh, for real hardcore guys? It sounds like they were trying to maybe see if that could lead to something. I was never on board with it. Um, so I felt, I knew it. I knew from the beginning. I'm like, I didn't like this. I didn't think it was going anywhere, and I didn't see any positives from it. And I never saw. The biggest thing for me is there was no community that was screaming for this. Like, oh, we need some kind of pro league. We need some, esports. Um, no, give us a way to run leagues, customizable leagues on the online multiplayer. That's all you need to do. Give us a way to have a structured, organized leagues where you can run your own custom schedules, fully supported by stats. There's a lot you can do there. But this other thing and then NASCAR was involved, and these teams and this wacky promotion, I never bought into any of it. I was never a fan. Those of you who've been watching my videos, that's, from the very beginning, this is how I felt. So that's all we know for now. Hopefully, Sean Wilson or somebody releases information. They can't just let this stuff linger because you don't want that. I can guarantee you, a lot of people out there, they're going to think that the whole business is gone and that nobody's making NASCAR games, or you're going to start seeing the rumors. Oh, EA is going to make the next game, or somebody else is coming in. As of now, that's it's Sean Wilson and I mean, that's the way he put it. Sean Wilson and the team is still making the game, but he doesn't call it 704. Isn't that 704? So there's still some confusion there. And I don't, like I said, I never really understood the business side of this, how it was supposed to work. How was this supposed to generate money for them? And I think even in the best case scenario, I think what they were hoping for was that people would be so hyped up about this pro league stuff that they would run out and buy copies of this game just for that. And I said from day one, that's not going to happen. What sells these games is the career mode. The same thing you see in other sports games, like NBA 2K, or in these other games. That's what made those series and those games what they were. The career mode, how deep and immersive it was because of presentation, because of all these cool things. Now, NBA 2K as a series has gone down the toilet, but it's because of their business practices and microtransactions. That's really taken that series and really it's gone downhill. But if you go back to like 2015 and 2016, that was like NBA 2K at its peak. That's when it was at its best. Just before they started going crazy with the microtransactions and all that. And I do believe, don't mark my word, don't take my word for it as gospel, but I do believe the 2015 NBA 2K was the first one where they implemented the face scan technology. I bought the game and I loved it. There was so many great things about that. You know, dealing with sponsors, you know, signing deals, doing commercial endorsements, dealing with contract negotiations, and just so much going on in that game. And that blew me away. And that's what made me a fan of the NBA 2K series back then. But just giving you guys an example of where this series needs to go. And I really hope that Sean Wilson and whoever it is that's working on this game continues to listen to the community, because it has gotten them to a point where they can be proud of NASCAR Heat 4. It is a really good on-track racer. That's what it is. It's a racer. You know, is it a fully fleshed out game? No, it's not. But, you know, the progression that they've shown is really, really good. And, you know, the other question mark besides what's going to happen now with these guys is they've proven that they can develop a solid racing experience, right? The AI, the you know, the physics, the handling, all that stuff. Yeah, it's not perfect. I know there's people gonna have their little complaints and stuff, and it does need tweaking here and there. But overall, this is the best racing NASCAR game ever made on a console. I'm not talking about the PC simulator from 2003. That's not in the conversation. But as far as console games, this is the best racing NASCAR game. Not the best overall NASCAR game, which is still 2004 NASCAR Thunder. That game still overall as an overall product is still better. But this game is just, as far as jumping in the car and racing, it's the best. So they've come a long way. They've listened to the community. They deserve a lot of credit for that, and I really am rooting for these guys. Um, I hope that they can corral the horses and get focused on the game and just forget about this external stuff. Um, don't get any more bright ideas about, you know, creating these third party entities that are supposed to sell the game. The game is what sells the game. So if you can put the same amount of effort into the career mode, into the all the presentation and the narrative and all this other stuff that the game needs, off track stuff, and tying everything together like other sports games do, the game's gonna sell. They're gonna do just fine if they focus on that. This other stuff, there's still going to be more news coming out. This is just the early release of information. But like I said, they've never really shown themselves to be adept at communicating with people. We usually have to find and scrape up information. And Zane, you know, ironically, was the guy who was going to be their main communicator. And now he's out. So where are we going to get the information? So, and they do need to let us know what's going on, because you want people to know, yeah, we're still working on the game. The game's not going to be affected. We got plenty of ideas, and don't worry about the game. This is esports only and pro league. They need to really come out and follow through with that message. Because if you don't talk about it, if you don't communicate with people, people are going to start assuming the worst and they're going to start wondering what's going on. That could at some point be negative for building up enthusiasm for this next game. People may just give up. It's been such a long time since we've had really great NASCAR games, and then 704 came along, and slowly yeah, it's not coming as fast as we wanted to, but they've done a great job up to this point. They still have a lot to do and a long way to go, but it would really suck at this point if they completely just imploded as a company. And then what? We probably won't see another NASCAR game for a long time, because I just don't see anyone else coming and just clamoring to make a NASCAR game, unless it's somebody like EA and they just want to cash in on the fan base and take advantage of us, and we don't want that. So if Sean Wilson's listening, or anybody else, whoever is still there at 704, whatever they're going to call themselves, I mean, I don't know. I find it funny that he says Sean Wilson and his talented team is still working on the game, but what are they? Are they 704? Aren't they 704? Or and wasn't Monster Games developing it? Are they Monster Games? You understand what I'm saying? It's getting a little convoluted and confusing. So I don't want to put out you know any definitive statements, because I'm learning as I go, and some of you guys may have more information already than I do. So please feel free, come in the comment section if you have information. Let me know what's going on, or provide a link to something that would be helpful, especially for somebody like me. I'm not on all these social media sites. So for now, that's all I have to say at the moment. So I would say it's a little bad news, right? But it might not be as bad as we think. So let me know what you guys think. I look forward to your comments. And thanks. Oh, hold on a second. Thanks for your support. I'll talk to you guys when I get a chance.